Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, bald mosquitoes and bow-legged ants, Mr. and Mr. America and all the ships at sea. That's right, I went old school. And you're at another fun-filled episode of The Other Side of the Ropes. And of course, you knew who I am, and I just gave you the place and the time. But for those who don't know, the uninitiated, this is Red, aka Shaka, sub-moniker Black Magic. And what is this exactly? Well, simply put, Other Side of Ropes, it should be self-explanatory. But if I got to break it down, this is the now online video blog slash column, whatever you want to call it. Well, it's mine, so damn it, it's a column, okay? Anyway, it's a column pertaining to professional wrestling on the independent level. Well, actually, it's about the only level you're going to see it on anyhow. Yeah, I'll get into that in a second. From a wrestler's point of view, and for those of you who don't know, yes, I may not look like it, but I'm an indie wrestler. Now, what was I saying? The difference between that is, let's see. It's about 25 minutes to 2 in the morning, Tuesday, the 20th of December, which means we're a few hours removed from a Raw taping in South Philadelphia in Wells Fargo Center. Now, you think I'd be jumping up and down about that? If anybody knows me by now, no. And most people that know me know why. Listen, all that glitters isn't gold, and just because it says wrestling in the logo doesn't necessarily mean it's wrestling. Now I'm going to take a page out of Jim Cornette's book. And if y'all don't believe me, I heard part of the podcast on Sunday night. He was talking about Johnny Ace. Well, better known as John Laurinaitis, or Joe Laurinaitis' brother. Who's Joe Laurinaitis? Well, you guys know him as Road Warrior Animal. Now, Johnny Ace, I first laid eyes on him around 1986, 1987 when he was in UWF. Not Urban Wrestling Federation, Universal Wrestling Federation. This was Bill Watts' thing back in Oklahoma. And when I saw him, he was the current flag bearer for the Sheep Herders. Well, you guys know him as the Bushwhackers now. But if you listen to Jim Cornette's podcast, somehow he managed to become the booking guy for All Japan. Why? Well, Giant Baba's wife, Motoko, had a liking for him because he was blind, smiley face gaijin. I'm quoting Cornette again. And his claim to fame was his brother was a star, which he was. Him, not so much. But he was good with finishers. Well, let's put it this way. You heard of the Ace Crusher? No? How about the Stone Cold Stunner? Well, that was the Ace Crusher. Before, or should I say, the Ace Crusher was the Stone Cold Stunner, but the Stone Cold Stunner before that was the Ace Crusher. Now, if that boggles your mind, you're online, you can always rewind this thing. Seriously, it's not VCR, so it's not going to pop. But anyway, the thing was, he also became the head of booking relations after Jim Ross went back to Oklahoma for the E. And as a result, where Jim Ross would bring in guys that actually had some kind of athletic background and all that good stuff, collegiate, amateur or otherwise, Johnny Ace would bring in somebody that would reflect more of himself. Smiley face, look good. Let's see, bodybuilder, lingerie model, 2 left feet. Couldn't wrestle worth a lick, but looked good. Damn, that sounds like the E. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Anyway, now I'm bringing back a lot of retroactive stuff. Last couple of shoots. I mean, okay, I mentioned, all right, last Monday, 7th anniversary of this thing. Okay. Now, all right, here's the funny bit. In about just over 6 days from now, I've got 6 days to enjoy the rest of my 30s. No, I'm not dying. Calm down. Of course, some of you probably think, oh, he is good. You don't got to hear his fucking mouth no more. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm kidding. No. What that means is, I'm pretty much healthy last time I checked, guys. Otherwise, I would have killed over in the gym early in the day instead of losing about 5 pounds of water weight. No. It is exactly what it says. 6 more days in the 30s, which means by the time we do the next other side of ropes around this time a week from now, it'll be on my 40th birthday or a couple hours removed. Don't look it? Good. That's called genetics, and I slowed the clock down a little bit. Now, going back a few years prior, here's an old ditty. You guys probably remember. Remember Pro Wrestling Illustrated? No? Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Pro Wrestling Illustrated was one of the big hot sheets back in the day. And what made it even really big, they had all the awards and everything, most hated, most popular. People now call it biggest babyface, biggest heel because everybody knows the lingo now. Most improved, most inspirational, feud of the year, so on and so on and so forth. And then as it became more diluted after Bill Apter left about over a decade ago, the biggest subject du jour for PWI was the top 500. Well, okay, I'll admit it. I never made the top 500. But one of the last times my name ever popped up in that magazine while we thought it was still relevant happened to be in the top 500 for 2004. How, you say? Well, actually, here's the thing. Remember I mentioned the thing about credibility, significance in the business and all this good stuff? Okay, I got news for you guys. Whether you realize it or not, even when we thought it was still relevant, I can count at least on one hand, literally on one hand, how many times my name actually popped up in PWI. Yeah, I was actually a byline of that thing. I can tell you right now, my name showed up in a match results at least 2 or 3 times between 1999 and 2001. What's it mean, you say? Hey, if you made it in there, it meant something. Okay? In 99, I was barely in a year. Now, one of my mentors, he was near the bottom of the 500, but in his words, hell, I made it. I'm talking about Ron Starr. Then when you find out how political it is, and I found out because months before I started doing this column, I used to submit match results in the top 10 for some of the promotions I worked for. And I actually popped up in a few of them. Matter of fact, my name popped up in the top 10 for, let's see, the NICW, which was National Independent Championship Wrestling in Virginia in 2004. Popped up in the top 10. A couple months later, that's when myself, Prince Malik, and Pharaoh, 3 of us, wound up going into the NWA Virginia and taking the 6-man title. That was in November of 2004. That was actually the last time my name ever popped up in the PWI. I can pull it out, but since I didn't do it preparatorily speaking in this particular case, you'll have to sort it out. But I'll have it next week, trust me, or the early edition if I decide to shoot one before the week's out. But I'll put it out there. Yeah, NWA Virginia. Of course, they kept going by Shaka the Warrior. I was going by Crimson Assassin, but one and the same. It was me, and it's online too. It's documented. I have an NWA title. We vacated it back in 2005. That was the last time my name popped up in the thing. But other than that, popped up in another top 10. Maximum Championship Wrestling. Remember that 500 I mentioned back in 2004? Well, on the back of that same magazine, the top 10 for Maximum Championship Wrestling. We just made the doggone print, and Randy Wankowitz cut us a break. Other than that, trying to get in the 500, it's a lot more political than you think. And somebody actually slipped out a whole bit about that. It was Samoa Joe. And he said it's just something you show to your friends. Hate to say it, but he's right. Because let's face it, the top half is everybody from the E, TNA, Japan, and Mexico. Oh, not to mention ROH. Everybody else in the bottom 250, the rest of the indies, whoever managed to bother to put their stuff in, including 1 or 2 guys from Europe. I hate to say it, but there it is. It's a dinosaur, folks. But yeah, at one particular point in time, it meant something. Back when I thought my name showed up a handful of times, results and everything else, I thought it meant something. Come to find out about 7 years ago when I used to submit stuff myself, and yeah, they changed the names too. Just to let you know. You don't believe me? Try it sometime, see what happens. Just saying. A lot of sacred cows have been slaughtered in this business. But that doesn't mean you can't resurrect a few. Why? Because the cows in question ain't really cows. Does this column actually make sense this week? Listen, I'm going to throw an old little ditty here. Kind of like a la KRS-One. If anybody remembers the song 13 Ain't Good towards the end, the moral of the story, there is no moral. You finish it for me. Does this column make sense this week? I'll let you figure that one out for yourself. Now, if it bothers you that much, rewind it. Play it back a few times. There's going to be some kernels of truth in there. That just means I make it a little hard for you to sort it out. But trust me, it's in there. And no, I did not come from a coffee shop. Y'all know about the hat? And yeah, it's another shirt, but trust me, I'm not going for the incense bit. But yeah, on that note, I'll still ponder the shout outs. Maybe in a couple weeks. Who knows? Until then, I'm out of here, folks. And since this ain't going to be for another week, for the rest of you guys, for you and yours, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you guys on the first day of Kwanzaa, also known as Umoja. How do I know? Because it's also my birthday. I'll see you guys next week on the other side of the ropes. I'm out. Peace.